Hello, everybody. West Shore Po Boy coming at you, and today, or should I say tonight, I am last day or so. Tiger Lily's granddaughter Tabitha is gone, and her kitten's here. Her mom Ruby's taking care of them and her own now, and I think some neighbors nearby let their dogs out during the night, and came up my yard and killed them. I killed her. I think's what happened. If I talk about it anymore, I'm gonna have to start wiping my eyes. So I'd rather move on to the next subject. See, my eyes are already getting moist trying to talk about it. So anyhow, another thing that happened is at the start of this year, I had some gut biome fuckery caused by my double whammy of the flu and viral gastroenteritis for 4 days and nights. After it passed, it was just the flu after that. And then what happened was I basically... sorry. I'm just so pissed off about Tabitha right now. So basically, I shaved my beard off because the gut biome fuckery caused me to contract dandruff again. But not only did it come back on my face, this time it came out back on my head. So I had to shave everything off, as you can tell. So anyhow, those updates, and I could go into quite a tangent about how the universe loves flipping me the hell off more than most. But I'd rather not. So I'm going to continue on. Here's why anyone claiming epidemiology can be evidence is wrong. It is the embodiment of a specific variation of an appeal to questionable or doubtful cause fallacy. Yes, there are many variations of it. This variation of that fallacy is known as cum hoc, ergo, propter hoc fallacy. Yes, this implicates anyone that claims red meat causes any disease, cholesterol, LDL, the pharmaceutical companies, the politician buddies, the American Diabetes Association, the American Dietetic Association, the American Medical Association, which is the organization that literally claimed legitimate doctoring licenses were too fucking damn cheap. Dietitians as a whole, so-called nutritionists that have no background in pathology and physiology to any real degree that's actually worth a damn. Anyone who makes any hard causal claims about any diet at all, the USDA, the FDA, the world's governments, the WEF, anyone who does post-data analysis, post-analysis, data adjustment, basically they're de facto fabricators for this reason and others, not just fabrication, but this too. Anyone who peddles the notion of calories outside of heat engines or bomb calorimeters is Because, let's be denialists about open system thermodynamics and the second law of thermodynamics. Shall we? Anyone that peddles Mendelian Randomization to peddle this shit, even to try justifying this cum hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy, is just a copium spiraling fucking hypocritical piece of shit. Pure and simple. I've explained it in excessive detail in my videos about of how a former shade tree mechanic it talks about health claims. Check those 2 videos out if you're interested. If you're not, then don't. It's whatever. You watch it. It's your choice. I'm putting it out there for those who might be willing to hear this out. The only ones who do not fall into this necessarily are some carnivores, and unfortunately that is increasingly being shown to be a fucking minority. Took the self-censor off, obviously. A few paleo diet advocates and some ketogenic diet advocates. That narrows down the window a lot, doesn't it? It alienates the vegans, the vegetarians, a lot of carnivores, a majority of the paleo diet advocates, and a lot of keto diet advocates, sadly. Those who have been guilty of this need to change this damn behavior rather quickly. Please. This sadly may or may not include some of the older herbalistic discussion videos I've even made in the past, but I gotta see first. See, I'm holding myself responsible to this. To show good faith on my goddamn part. Let me explain why. Epidemiology is just looking for patterns. Patterns themselves are not evidence. You need an experiment. Let me actually get those old notes, that old script out. Excuse me. Get those old notes out. Let me go grab these. Incidence is the rate or range of occurrence or influence of something when in the field of epidemiology, and when those who study it are not stepping out of their fucking lane, look for correlation patterns between something done, not done, or whatever, to see if there's a pattern. The correlation's a pattern. What you do with this pattern is you build what layman people call a theory, but actual hard scientists call a damn hypothesis. That's all you can do with it. Anyone who says otherwise is a fucking crank. Bottom line. Anyone who says different's a bullshitter or trying to defend the bullshitters. Yeah, I just shat on all of the medical systems out there. All of them. Because they're all guilty of this bullshit. I've really not had a good day, you could say, folks. I've really not had a fucking good day at all. Let's continue. Take lung cancer, which my dad had his upper left lobe removed. In other words, 3/4 of his fucking left lung removed. And then 5 months later, after back-to-back surgeries, let's say we all place bets on the probability of the fact he had a cocktail of various oxys alongside goddamn methadone told by MDs probably fucking killed his heart on the early morning of the day he died of congestive heart failure when I tried to wake up his black and blue corpse in their bed that morning, in my parents' bed that morning, and I saw a mushed up nose and face leaking fluids from the mouth, indicating that let's take that as an example. Showing my personal biases on this subject that I'm rather passionate about even 12 years later. No, 13 years later. When it comes to lung cancer, we can at best say this correlation between incidences of lung cancer and smoking cigarettes are so high enough to say that it might or probably cause cancer. But not that it absolutely does, because we don't have direct experimental evidence. We do, however, know that to some varying degrees, the potential of the potentiality of the different chemicals in cigarette smoke can actually damage cells, which can lead to varying problems. We've seen this in test tubes. We've seen this, direct on cell cultures, and the incidence is corroborated. Carbon monoxide, polonium, radioactive lead, normal lead, cadmium, arsenic. Sorry. Hydrocarbons like benzene, toluene even, tars, polycyclic aromatic fucking hydrocarbons. We've seen that shit, what they can do to cells. Yeah, tobacco picks up radiation out of the earth, and the phosphate mining creates emptied out, once phosphate mines are empty, the phosphates are nothing but radioactive slag heaps. And the fertilizers can contain a mineral called apatite, or apatite, whatever, which contains an element, which contains radium in it, which can eventually decay into polonium-210 and also radon gas. Radiation damage and all the days. But correlation cannot predict risk. What you have to do is to get an experiment. There are 4 kinds of experiments you can conduct. You see how uncomfortable I'm willing to make myself on camera to talk about this shit, because it is so systematic, it pisses me off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. These are 4 experiments you can conduct, because the further you extrapolate from most fundamentals like physics, protophysics, and such, the more finicky, the more complicated it gets to apply the same methods, the principles of the scientific method, and its expansions by individuals like Karl Popper, Emery Lakatos, Thomas Samuel Kuhn, Paul Feyerabend. And the one area I agree, the only area I ever will agree with Quine on, which is the confirmation holism expansions and such. And such like that. And, the only way you can actually apply these principles consistently in this case is particular because all the variables between person to person and in magnified on scale. A well-tenured, well-controlled, well-powered, well-disciplined, and fully documented randomized crossover trial. A well-tenured, number 2, well-tenured, well-controlled, well-powered, well-disciplined, and fully documented direct human population intervention trial that puts patients in a metabolic ward to control every single damn thing possible in their lives, to control against as much as possible. 3, and number 2 is Professor Bartholomew K's absolute favorite, because you can actually get direct controlled results and a lot of other reasons. The signal to noise ratio is so minimal in the outputs here. But meta-analyzing of multitudes of these, number 2, would still be the best. And I'm pretty sure he can agree with that, but he can correct me if I'm wrong here. 3. A well-tendered, well-controlled, well-powered, well-disciplined, and fully documented double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial that has a big population number, has to be a certain number of years, can concede the basic pathology, and basic physiology, and the Bradford Hill criteria unless something is disproven. And then a well-tendered, well-controlled, well-powered, well-disciplined, and fully documented, multiple-blinded, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trial of the same magnitude and the same disciplinary strictness. These are the only things that will ever do that. If you want to see in the description down below why the Mendelian nonsense is exactly that fucking nonsense, I'll explain it in the description down below. And yeah, because epidemiology again is to look for patterns. That's it. You build hypotheses off of the correlative patterns you find. It's literally looking for patterns and then seeing what you seeing how many experiments you can make or conduct to see which experiment or a multitude of experiments causes that pattern to come back up. And then then you go further until you find an actual cause and effect relationship that's repeatable. And then meta-analyze multitudes of those kind of experiments to do this. That is why.
Yeah, he loses right now. Exactly.
And then there's also individuals that make claims about lactic acidosis. Somehow it just magically fucking exists. Like Michael Greger and Darren Schmidt. They should be deliberately ignored for all fucking time. Because anyone who claims that is straight up a crank. But then again, at least Darren Schmidt's actually put out useful information regardless of this. Michael Greger's not even a proper doctor. That's right. He's not even a properly registered or licensed doctor, nor is he properly trained. He's not even he shouldn't even be calling himself an MD or a doc at all. Factual. But he gets away with it because the political biases towards the vagoonery shit is just rampant. Increasingly rampant. So yeah. Maybe anyone who peddles anything about correlative stuff or associations and then put risk in the same sentence, fucking ignore it. Bottom line. I'll see you later.